This is a live look at Cocoa Beach, Florida, where Tropical Storm Nicole is unleashing fury on the east coast of the state. Nicole made landfall early this morning as a Category 1 hurricane, but has since been downgraded back to a tropical storm.
And it's about twice the size of Hurricane Ian and brings a life-threatening storm surge into areas already hard hit just 6 weeks ago. Our Xavier Walton live in Vero Beach, Florida, with the very latest. Xavier, what are you seeing?
Well, right now we're getting hit with a little bit of rain. The winds have certainly died down. But, I mean, just take a look at this over here. So right now we are at the Vero Beach Pier, and this is a mainstay in this community. And this sidewalk, as we pan and take a step backwards, this sidewalk was actually still here last night around 10 o'clock. I spoke to a resident who lives just across the street. And now, look, this is all that is left. And then when we go further down, what was left of the sidewalk, you see that the concrete there, the pavement crumbling underneath. That's because the Atlantic Ocean was essentially all the way up here, and it just keeps pounding and pounding. This area, high tide is right around 8:20 or so. So I believe we have just about an hour until a high tide here in this area. Likely when that time rolls around, this area, a lot of it will be underwater. Now, speaking of residents, they fared pretty well here in Vero Beach, but still, as you look around, thousands are without power, and you mentioned it near the top of this. This storm, Nicole, is massive. When you talk about the wind field and how wide it is, sun is up. We're just starting to get an idea of what kind of damage is left behind from Nicole. I'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Xavier. I know Gerard Jabailey's been covering this one as well. Obviously, twice the size of Ian. Ian was massive.
It was a big storm, but that was a much more powerful one.
Yes.
This one's low end on the scale, comparatively speaking. One thing to note, this is the third hurricane to occur in the month of November. That ties the all-time record for most hurricanes we've had in the month of November. The last time we had that was back in 2001.
Wow.
So it's not completely unheard of, but certainly rare to have 3 hurricanes in this month. There is that wind field that we were talking about. It was about 600 miles in diameter at its maximum point. But again, these are winds up to around 70 miles per hour. We're talking between 40 and 70 mile per hour winds. There's the center of it now moving just to the south of Orlando. You can see the rain bands moving through, and it's continuing its track. We've already seen a lot of wind gusts here, many of them above in the tropical storm strength. Here's one hurricane force wind gust we had near the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral at 82 miles an hour. You notice many of them have been at least well above tropical storm strength, and of course that's led to power outages. We've got about 70,000 without power right there in Brevard County, including Cape Canaveral. About 180,000 total in the state of Florida. There's the tropical storm warnings you see there in blue, so there's quite a number of those. We're going to continue to see the storm churning as it heads to the north and then crossing over back into the the panhandle of Florida, and then very quickly weakening. Once it's over land, it loses its energy. That's the good news, but we're only talking about a little bit of wind from there on, but rain after that point, 2 to 3 inches as it moves up the eastern United States. We can see that all the way up to Pennsylvania and up toward New York. So we've got a lot going on. And then as we move through today, those bands are going to continue to push ashore. Some of them will be able to spin up some quick spin-up tornadoes, guys, so we've got to watch those. You know, when you get a hurricane or even a tropical storm, you can have all the same impacts, and when it came to Nicole, it didn't matter whether it was a hurricane or a strong tropical storm. The impacts were going to be almost identical. All
right, thank you very much, Gerard, for all of that, and I know we're going to continue watching it. That wind is certainly a concern, and washing ashore on those areas where we saw so much beach erosion, concern for so many residents. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.